Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and folk of all ages, you know what time it is. It is August the 1st. It's time to talk about the holy days, high days, days of remembrance, all the special days for our folk, Asatru Folk Assembly. And I'm in a bit of a hurry today because it is August 1st, and I'm recording this on the day of remembrance for King Osric of Deira. We gotta get this video out. And on August the 9th will be the day of remembrance for King Radbod of Freyfaxi. And of course, on the third weekend of the month, we celebrate our holy day. This month it's Freyfaxi on the 16th. Alrighty, y'all, let's get down to it. Go into some nitty gritty onto the details for our special days. As I said, today, the day of remembrance, King Osric of Deira, who passed away in 634 of the Common Era. King Osric of Deira was one of the shortest-lived kings of any of the 7th century Common Era collection of kingdoms that made up what was later to be known as England. At the time, there were 7 kingdoms known as the Heptarchy. One of those kingdoms was Northumbria, which was originally divided into 2 kingdoms of Bernicia in the north and Deira in the south. These 2 kingdoms would first be united during the reign of King Aethelfrith, who reigned from 593 to 616 Common Era. The 2 kingdoms were in near constant state of war with each other for centuries, which led to great instability in the region. To tell King Osric's story, we first have to tell the story of Edwin of Northumbria. Edwin was the son of Aela, the first known king of Deira. Upon Aela's death, a certain Aetheric assumed power in Deira. Who Aetheric was is unclear, but he may have been the father of Aethelfrith, who is listed as the king of all Northumbria by the year 604. During the reign of Aethelfrith, and for reasons unknown, Edwin was sent into exile. He was fostered first in the kingdom of Gwynedd, modern-day southern Wales, and then later turned up around the year 616 in East Anglia, under the protection of King Radbod. The same year, Aethelfrith was defeated in battle by Radbod, who installed Edwin as the client king in Northumbria. With the support of such a powerful overlord, Edwin would go on to reunite Northumbria again, which put the kingdom under the control of a native of Deira for the first time, something considered outside the normal tendency. Edwin would go on to take over most of England with Radbod for the next decade, until the death of Radbod around 625. After Radbod's death, Edwin sought to secure even more power for himself through marriage, and sought the hand of Ethelberg, sister of Eadbald of Kent. Eadbald agreed on the condition that Edwin would convert to Christianity, believing that doing so would convert the Northumbrians, just as his parents' marriage had converted Kent. Eadbald himself holds the dubious distinction of being the first Anglo-Saxon king to convert to Christianity. It should be noted that this time period in English history as regards to faith and religion was tumultuous. Christian monks of every stripe were working hard to convert the kings and other nobility, in their aim to have all kings bend the knee to their new master. Edwin himself was characterized as being unsure of conversion, and even after his marriage, he still sought the advice of his counselors about the matter. The account of this meeting by the Venerable Bede is widely cited and includes the famous story of Coifi, a pagan priest, who, when asked what he thought of the new faith and its rules, stated that they may be worthwhile, since no one has been more dedicated to the old gods, and he has gained no benefit from them. Another counselor agrees, and Edwin makes his decision to convert. Coifi then asks to be the one to destroy the old pagan temple, since he now knows the true God has given him good knowledge, and doing so will set a good example to the public. He asks for a horse and a spear, rides to the doorway of the temple, and profanes it by casting the spear into it. We aren't giving any insight into why this profaned the temple, but there were associations made by historians to connect it with the spear that pierced Jesus. Edwin went on to become the most powerful king among the Anglo-Saxons, until the year 632, when a coalition of one of his foster brothers from his time in Wales, Cadwallon, and the mighty Asatru king, Pinda of Mercia, defeated his forces and killed him in the Battle of Hatfield Chase. This battle took place sometime in the autumn of 632, or possibly 633, sources are unsure. What we do know is that shortly after his death, his vast kingdom was split up, with Northumbria once again divided. Bernicia would go to his nephew, Eanfrith, son of his sister Aecia. Deira would go to Osric, his cousin, son of his uncle Aelfric. This brings us to autumn of 633, and King Osric and King Eanfrith, ruling the respective sub-kingdoms, had themselves superficially accepting the new faith. However, according to Bede and other historians, they promptly dropped the facade of being good Christians and reverted back to their native faith, Asatru. Their rule would not last a year, with Osric failing to the same Cadwallon that had helped to slay Edwin after he attempted to besiege him in a fortified town. According to Bede, in his Ecclesiastical History of the English People, the year that Eanfrith and Osric ruled their sub-kingdoms was so abhorrent because of their return to Asatru that their reigns were effectively erased and added to the reign of Oswald of Bernicia. Oswald was a staunch convert and was later made a saint. While we don't know much about the life and thoughts of Osric, we should still speak his name and remember him. At the time in our history when one's faith could be, and often was, a matter of life and death, Osric chose to spend the brief time that he had in power to reinstate the Aesir to their proper place. So let us remember King Osric of Deira, a short-lived champion of the Aesir, but a champion nonetheless. Hail, King Osric of Deira. Hail, the honored dead. Hail, Odin. And after that, y'all, it brings us to August 9th, which, as I said, is the day of remembrance for King Radbod of Frisia. Born in 648 and passed away in 719 Common Era. King Radbod ruled Frisia from 680 Common Era until his death in 719. He was the last independent ruler of Frisia before it was subdued and converted by the Christian Franks. Radbod is celebrated as a powerful warrior and leader, always energetic and constantly fighting another battle for the good of his people. He was said to have repulsed Christianity and its proponents out of Frisia during his early reign, since his predecessors allowed the foreign faith to sink its claws into his kingdom years earlier. Adding to the gravity of Radbod's reputation, it is reported that he made the entire Frankish kingdom tremble in fear when they heard that he was assembling an army, even near the end of his life. His most well-known victory involves defeating Charles Martel himself at Cologne in 716, 3 years before his own death. The most important tale of King Radbod's life, however, is when he was nearly baptized by Frankish Christians. While the reasons for this are unknown, King Radbod nearly accepted the desert faith for himself and his people. Wolfram, a monk, had set up the baptism. When King Radbod asked him where his ancestors were, Wolfram replied that they were burning in hell, but that heaven contained the souls of many fellow Christians. This remark quickly helped King Radbod make up his mind. He then rejected the baptism and Christ wholesale, and said, "I would sooner spend eternity burning with my ancestors than in paradise with a pack of beggars." From then on, and until the end of his days, King Radbod courageously and loyally stood with the Aesir. His faith in the gods of his ancestors gave him enough strength to go shot for shot with the Frankish Empire for a time, even going so far as to defeat Charles Martel. The Asatru Folk Assembly honors King Radbod for his defiance of the Christians, for his strength as a leader, for his love of his people, and for his loyalty to the Holy Aesir and Alcinur. Hail, King Radbod of Frisia! Hail the Asatru Folk Assembly! And after the remembrance of these amazing men in our histories, we have the high holy day of Freyfaxi, Third Saturday of the month, this month being the 16th. Let's go into what those details are all about. Though Freyfaxi is, in name, a modern holiday, the celebration around which it is centered is much older. Dedicated to Freyr, our ancestors celebrated the first harvest of the season. The most common offerings during Freyfaxi included the sheaves of wheat or other grains and freshly baked loaves of bread. Less common was the sacrifice of a horse in honor of Freyr. The beginning of the harvest season marked the beginning of hard work and dedication. Every harvest of the season was necessary to the survival of each family of the community. This hard work ensured that there would be food to see them through the long winter months. Those seeds that we planted after Sumermal, tended so carefully for the last few months, have grown, and some of them should be bearing the fruit of all that labor. Take some time in the garden as you pick the first offerings of your plants to thank Freyr. Share with him some of the first harvest, along with bread and ale. Celebrate the god of vitality and abundance with your family and folk. And while you're at those celebrations, the very next week, fourth Wednesday of the month, is our national event, Freyfaxi, at Baldershof, Murdoch, Minnesota. It is an amazing time. I have been to Baldershof at least 4 or 5 times, including twice for Freyfaxi. You will not underestimate the frith and piety of those folk, basking in the light of Balder, celebrating Freyr. It is an amazing time. If there's any way for y'all to get out there, go see them, enjoy it, and celebrate Freyfaxi with some good folk. Alright, y'all. That's all we got for the month of August. I thank you all so much. You listening in every single month, learning a bit about our holidays, just chatting with us. In the meantime, hail King Osric, hail Radbod, hail Freyr, hail the Aesir, hail the folk, hail the AFA, hail victory, y'all. Have a good night.